Yeah, see, there's a lot of things you need to know with the instrument too before you start talking about it. I don't think you play one because I'll smash that acoustic over your over your head. Watch that thing. I'd love to. I hate acoustic guitars. They sound like fucking noise to me, especially the way you losers play them. I got a pickup in the thing. I got a piezometric pickup, and I plug it into my amp, and it sounds like garbage, dude. It's awesome. It sounds all tinny and shit, and all fake, and it doesn't even sound like an acoustic. It sounds really bad. I love it. What's Donato's using? He's using a classical guitar with nylon strings, and everybody's when they hear the recordings, they go, "How the fuck you do that?" But when they see it live, they get all indignant about it. Why are you strumming a classical guitar? Because it's all I got, and it sounds good. That's all you ever need to know. And what's up, baby? You alright up there? Oh, fucking morning with you. Excuse you. Wow. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do on these mobile minutes. I got about a handful of them left, so. But what did you ask me? Oh yeah. I said no more music, but Jesus, you wanted to hear Beatles, so you started playing George Harrison. I started playing my George Harrison. You don't like George Harrison then? Those are his greatest songs. Love You Too, Within You, Without You. What else was I trying to play by him that was really good? I mean, he was the most negative Beatle, I think, if you ask me. If you look at his shit, his lyrics straight up told you, don't call me, don't talk to me, don't get away from me, I got no time for you right now, don't bother me. Songs like that, think for yourself, don't bother me. Real cutting motherfucker. I always thought so, especially when you look at his lyrics, he made no fucking bones about it. They treated George like shit towards the end, but he was only there because he was a Beatle. They outgrew him. George was an incredible player. They did that huge episode about him. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, songs like She Said, She Said, you're missing the joke. You're missing the double entendre and the play on words. He's talking about a party he went to at, I think it was Doris Day's mansion, where it was being rented, and they were hanging out with Peter Fonda, and Lennon was taking his second acid trip or something, and he starts to go into a bad trip, and the whole time Peter Fonda's there going in his ear, "Hey man, I know what it's like to be dead. Hey man, I know what it's like to be dead." And it freaked Lennon the fuck out, and he wrote a song about it. He was just like, it was the worst experience ever. I could imagine when you're on acid. Or Lucy in the Sky. I mean, come on, that's like I know you like to think that's your name, but that don't make sense for you. Obviously you know what it's about. It's about a drawing John's kid did in third grade of a schoolmate. And Jabberwocky, like Lewis Carroll. That's what it's about. Lucy, just pick a fucking name and stick to it, bitch. I mean, you can't have this big fat ass long name and encompass the internet with it. I'm sick of you. Don't wreck good songs like about brunette fucking little English girls. I mean, only you could ruin that. Or what else is it? Cry Baby Cry. Yeah. That reminds me of you, Sexy Sadie. That's definitely your song. We gave up everything we own just to sit at the fucking table. Everything we own. Just to smile. She came along to turn on everyone. I don't think they meant turn on. I think they meant turn on everyone. Which is what, and he was writing about the Maharishi Mahesh Yoga in India. Don't believe in false prophets. I mean, it's just a simple lesson like that, especially when your money's involved, because that's the first thing prophets make you do, is give up every goddamn red cent. And in the Beatles' case, they literally they almost sold their mansion. Lennon sold his, you know what I mean? He's like, I could have a new Mellotron or go sit in a banyan tree for fucking baked to death for while the Maharishi takes all the girls. I mean, they were naive to cultist shit like that. Songs like that, you shouldn't put your name on and use them against people. That's not what music is for. If you have something to say, just say it. That's what you're good at. Not really, though. I mean, you only have 4 things to say. But I don't attach Beatles songs to you. It's already in my head. I mean, I was like I've been telling you, even back at the hotel. Remember we had that thing? He's just playing songs. No, I'm playing my bass. I'm thinking of Beatles, man. I didn't even, And when, like I told you before, Lennon and McCartney are singing songs like "Some Other Guy Now Is Taking My Love Away From Me." That's two men singing about some other guy, or how happy they are that she loves you and not me, man. I can get with my boyfriend now. They wrote songs in the guise of in a secondhand way, especially Lennon. He was secondhand, off the top. It's not what it appears to be. It's not really music for women. to use against men like that. You know, even when they were being negative, they did their very best to make it seem positive. And you like to skip over that and use it for your own advantage, but you end up looking silly because you're not the Maharishi. You're not Peter Fonda, and no. Just like the Beatles, my interests aren't in girls, and I don't, you know, not musically. I don't have any fucking love songs for you. I don't know what you're talking about. But but those are the ones that make money. They always do. Don't listen to fucking Dwayne Beer. And you gotta understand too, the guitar is a microtonal instrument, even though it has frets, buddy. Think of it like it's a sitar, okay? Only the sitar will slide between the frets. That's a true microtonal. So there is no such thing as tuning, dude. Tuning is whatever the guitar is tuned to. Tell Robert Johnson he wasn't in tune. He used 6 different tunings throughout it. And it's all, and you're tuning when you're playing along with a record, dickhead. You got to remember, you're playing with an older record that was recorded on analog equipment. Okay, if they were using tape, the tape ran a little fast. It would come out slower when it went to the pressing plant, and by the time it got to your house, it was dependent on the servo motor in your record player, CD player, or tape player. You have to adjust. Try to sit down and tune up your guitar to EAD GBE, okay, in 440. And sit down and try to play the Sex Pistols, Never Mind the Bollocks. Try to do that. You won't be able to get through it. Every song will be 10% pitched up, negative 5%, and mostly because they were all recorded at different sporadic times. But that's the same thing with the Beatles too. They were never in 440. There was no MIDI back then. I mean, unless you used keyboards, but even the keyboards ran flat, depending on the electricity. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that. So you gotta understand, there's no reason to have a universal pitch anymore unless I'm playing with your group and I have a MIDI implementation and I've gotta be pitch perfect with you. When you're playing in a rock band, you can go and have your shit tuned up to drop B. Like they do now. You could have what do they call those fucking things? Those big old spaghetti western guitars, the baritones. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are in the pitch. Why would it matter? I mean, rarely does it matter. Yeah, that's just not a logical mode of thinking. When you're a little acoustic guy, why would it even matter still? You know, tune up to wherever's comfortable. Maybe your instrument isn't comfortable in 440 and you have to tune it down. Maybe you like to sing in E flat. All my favorite bands play in E flat, or somewhere around there. Who gives a fuck if you're tuned up to a... It's all dependent on your machinery, you know? Music is music. Whatever it takes to get it off, it doesn't matter. Normal people don't hear that, and neither do you. I told you that I like to, because you talk about the B string. It's like, I don't want to. I'm not 16 years old anymore. I figured out how a guitar works. It's like, but I'm in the habit of every guitar player does it. He tunes his instrument his way. You're gonna go watch my videos on here. Tell me I'm out of fucking tune. You're fucking ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? From the one instrument, the one time where it was going out of tune, because I just bought it off Craigslist, and you'll never let it go. And it's like, who gives a shit? It was out of tune. So what? Grow up. I tuned it up 5 minutes later. But no, that's never a problem. I have locking tuners, and I use a tremolo system that goes down fucking 4 octaves, dude. So it doesn't matter. I think that you should not talk about instruments or guitar because you really don't know what the fuck you're talking about unless you've been there. And I could tell that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're going to end up breaking your instrument, and when I go to most of you guys' houses and I see your fucking instruments, you'll have this big, expensive acoustic sitting there in the middle of the room that you never touch, and the string's been on it for 6 years, and they're all jacked up, and it's like, I remember, I'll go to your houses and I'll tune up your guitars, and the brass or bronze strings will fucking break, and it's like, yeah, well, I've seen this before. You're just another sucker that buys into the myth. You don't even play the instrument nor like it, and you think you know something about pitch. When I've been involved with every kind of pitch or pitch situation, I've been on stage where I couldn't hear anything, and I had to remain on pitch and use a head voice or a guess. Don't worry about that. I'll always be into it, and I don't always smoke your guitar player, and I double dog dare you to come challenge me at that. I'll take you up on it. Not that I even enjoy it. I mean, it's no challenge. Yeah, don't talk about guitars when you don't know what you're talking about. That's first week bullshit that is not applicable. When you're playing that guitar, you do anything it takes to make a joyful sound unto the Lord. That's all you ever need to know. Don't listen to this guy. What the fuck does he know? When you go to play in your friend's garage and you're 12 years old, you really sit there with your tuners and tune up? Use your fucking ears and just get within whatever it takes, man. You know, when you start playing advanced guitar, you have different tunings. You got Nashville tunings, you got Dadgad, you got Baghdad, you got Celtic Irish, you got 4 and 20 tuning, you got Irish tunings, you got all these blues tunings, dude. You know, you got to realize that I think there's 27 tunings known on the guitar. I know most of them. I can play in all of them, and once you retune those strings, all your chords that you know will go out the window. What happens if I come to smoke you at your club and I'm in a blues tuning from the from the Dirty 30s? Do you really think you can rival that? Your guitar won't be able to do it in E standard tuning. So you better learn your fucking tunings. Don't tell me about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, think about that. When you change the string tunings all like that, like you have to for this blues music that I do sometimes, you're now playing different chord formations. It's like relearning the instrument. And then I'll bust out the slide and put the capo on, and you'll shit your pants and quit the instrument and smoke crack. That's how it always goes. You ain't got one motherfucker down there that knows what he's talking about. I was taught by the best. I mean, at least as a child, and I could just, if I didn't understand, I could watch and you know, my father had friends that were magnificent musicians, and I just watched them. And that's how I learned my first chord formations, that and a Mel Bay book, or going into Hermes music, and because I couldn't afford it, I wanted to learn Vernon Reid Living Color, so I went in there and I copied everything by fucking hand in a notebook, and they used to throw me out of there. Alan Payette did. You gonna buy this? I'm like, I don't have the money for this. But it was good, because then I went home all excited, and I was like, oh, I know Vernon's chords here in the new song. But whatever it takes to play that chord. The Beatles used to talk about it. They were doing what is it? Let me think. Major scale 1-3-5 turnaround, and they needed the 5 chord, and they didn't know how to phrase it, and it'd be what, like a 9, I think. Yeah, it'd be some type of 9 with a drop on that beat, and they took a bus across town because somebody knew the 5 chord. And I can imagine it was probably the greatest day of their life. They're like, we got the missing chord. You know, now we could play blues. Any blues song in the world. Yeah, I remember that shit. So it's not about, we couldn't afford tuners, nor were they readily available back then. The only time you should use tuners like that is when you're using a smart pitch device, harmonizer, and you tune to that, because it's pitch accurate, of course. But I've seen guys not do it. But you're gonna lose your shit, guitar player guy, when you go and see these other guys having Nashville tunings or any of those tunings I mentioned. It's gonna make you think really hard and make you want to quit the instrument. Trust me, it made me want to do that too. But instead of talking about it all the time, practical application is the best. And I know you're not a real player anyway, but this is what I would tell you from my student. Less talk. I talk, you listen. And when you get home, play it or don't. It's up to you. I trust that you have a connection with this instrument, and I'll help you get there. But provided you shut the fuck up and don't listen to YouTube videos. These guys are waffling on about shit that they know, and they're not about to give you any secrets or tips or tricks. I'm the motherfucker that would. And you'd come out 3 weeks later like Robert Johnson. People would be like, would you make a deal with the devil? It's like, no, Thanatos taught me. Ask Nick, ask Kevin, ask all them guys, because I taught them all. And last I checked, Nick was as good as me on bass, because that's what I taught him. The most melodic motherfucker I ever heard. Until he was writing his own shit. I never had a player do that with me. He was imitating my bass lines. This is what I think you'd write here, and I'm like, yeah, that's really good, dude. Wow, that's a neat experience, because he loved the instrument. We were in junior high together, and he loved the instrument. He had a Teisco Del Rey. We had garbage. And an old Harmony amp with a AX11 tube in the back. It's like, what is this? It does tremolo. It's like, yeah, but we want to play Megadeth. Who's got it? Where do we get a distortion pedal? That kind of shit. I mean, you just suck the fun out of the instrument. Don't just leave it alone, dude. It's so complicated you could never understand. It literally takes a lifetime and a deep connection to the instrument. You're not gonna That attitude. You can talk and talk and talk, but I mean, the last with my theory training when I was about 18, I last studied Harmonics in C by John Coltrane, and that's as far as I ever needed to get. I'm like, okay, I think I'm good with this bullshit. What am I gonna do? Score fucking score cello parts? And I mean, although I could, but it's not practical application. Coltrane, I thought, was a good application, although, yeah, because it made me crazy, it made me fast. Shit like that, you know? Don't listen to anybody else ever, unless you feel like it's good advice and their advice works for you. And if it doesn't work on the first try, ignore that motherfucker. Listen to your heart. Never listen to another motherfucker tell you how to do your labor of love, or the thing you used to love, or tell you how to fuck your wife and shit like that. I mean, this is just absurd. Suck on my dick. Really. I'm gonna drive that nail through the cross. Let's wrap it up. Rock and roll.